Yo, what's up Peters? Last time I shared to you how to create a Web3 wallet. And many of you are curious about ano nga ba tong Web 3.0. And maybe some of you can even relate, but for today's vlog, pag-uusapan natin ano nga ba yung basic idea about Web 3.0 and why it will be the third wave of internet boom. So, let's go! Hello, my name is Mark and welcome to Hit the Mark. When we talk about the internet, everybody can relate and majority of us can even live without it nowadays. Web 3.0 has something to do with internet and it's actually the next era of the internet. But to understand it a little bit further, let's go back on how it evolves over time. So let's begin with Web 1.0. Web 1.0 is a static web page o yung tinatawag natin na read-only web, wherein as a user, there's no much interaction. So it's very static, wherein there's limited creators and mostly people consume without even the capacity to write, engage, and contribute to the site. That's why it's called read-only. They say it lasted around the beginning of the 90s from 1989 to 2005. Now, Web 2.0 is a second generation internet with dynamic web page or yung tinatawag natin na read and write only web, wherein you can read, write, even interact, comments, and different forms of communication to user were created. Average creators continue to increase and you can say pretty much that Web 2.0 is the interactive and collaborative version of Web 1.0. And as a user, you have a little bit of control on the front end, while big companies like Google, Facebook, Amazon, YouTube, etc. allow us to use their platforms for free. But here's the catch. It is in exchange of our data and personal information. Obviously, we've been into Web 2.0 for quite some time now. And on the perspective of a user and consumer, we enjoy participating in Web 2.0. But what we don't realize is we are giving so much power to these big companies as they control our own data. The transition from Web 1.0 to Web 2.0 is not actually clear because it kinda overlapped with Web 1.0. Now, as you can see, you might have noticed that we are already in Web 2.0. Examples of Web 2.0 are Facebook, Google, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, basically all social media platforms. And even yung mga apps installed in your smartphone like fintech apps and even demand service applications like Uber, Grab, Lalamove, etc. As well as e-commerce platform like Amazon and yung mga paborito nyo na Lazada and Shopee. Now, on the perspective of small businesses, startup companies, and some other MSMEs or micro, small, and medium enterprises who actually rely majority on those bigger platforms, for example, Facebook and YouTube, for their advertising, Google search suggestions, AWS or Amazon Web Services, in order for their business to run, they cannot compete easily with these guys, no? Kasi they are super small and they're even controlled by these bigger platforms. It's hard for them to scale, and because these companies monopolize the business, they cannot do anything about it. If you are an artist or content creator, you are at the risk of deleting your information from the site like Spotify, Instagram, and TikTok. Actually, na-experience ko na yung ganito sa Facebook, na kung saan binlock nila yung account ko and I cannot do anything about it. Until now, hindi ko na magamit yung previous Facebook ko. And nandun pa naman yung mga halagang contacts and personal informations na connections ko within that platform. Although hindi na naman new yung mga ganitong problem, but it's getting serious and serious. And recently in the news where Facebook had an outage including yung WhatsApp and Instagram, na kung saan there's a whistleblower that they're trying to tell Facebook that there's something wrong with their platform. And Facebook are actually doing nothing while getting more and more revenue from us. So nawawala yung safety for those kind of platforms kasi it's being controlled by a single entity. And yung pagmamanipulain at the same time, yung pagmomonopolize itong mga big companies na to, because they have the accessibility and scalability of our information regarding our privacy rights and personal freedom, ilan lamang ito sa mga naging reasons that spurred internet transitioning from Web 2.0 to Web 3.0. Now, let's transition to Web 3.0. So, ano nga ba yung Web 3.0? Web 3.0, ito yung tinatawag natin na decentralized web, in which this is also called the next era of the internet, aimed to democratize the web. The power that was once held by these big companies are being distributed now back to everybody, including you and I. So, it's actually giving the power and the value back, essentially to us users. So this of course include a lot of decentralization. For your information hitters, I took my master's degree in UP Diliman, Masters of Technology Management. So dito pinag-aaralan namin how technology evolves and paano ba nadi-diffuse yung innovation. So I'll show you a diagram dito na kung saan it is represented by an S-curve. So ito yung tinatawag natin na diffusion of innovation in technology adoption. So meron itong tatlong phase, which is the early stages, which is the innovation stages. Then it will enter into a growth stage, and suddenly it will reach the maturity stage. Now, as you can see, no, mapapansin mo dito, the technology grows because of innovation in an early stages of development, until it reaches a certain point of growth wherein there are early adopters and early majority starting to use the technology, and until it reaches the mass adoption, which is the maturity stage, and it becoming part of our daily lives. As you might have noticed, we are already in the maturity stage of Web 2.0, wherein masses adopted this technology. And mapapansin mo that we cannot actually live our lives without this technology nowadays. We are being affected, we are so engaged about it, we are actually talking about it day by day, and kung mapapansin mo pa rin, no, even yung mga late majorities like baby boomers are now accepting these social media platforms. And when that technology reaches its maturity stage, now another technology is being introduced and emerge. So dito pumapasok yung Web 3.0, and mapapansin mo, it will create a new S-curve and magkakaroon ng discontinuity transitioning from previous technology to a new technology. And this is how adoption happens and how new technology are being introduced in the market. Now, going back to Web 3.0, as I presented in the figure, we are in the early stage of development. We are actually currently in the innovation stage wherein you can participate and maximize this opportunity. Bitcoin and Ethereum are the best example of Web 3.0 using the power of blockchain technology, wherein there's no need of centralized entity to actually control our data. And it's actually more on trust is being passed on through different codes. Web 3.0 is pretty much present in the crypto space, as well as other digital fields such as artificial intelligence, augmented and virtual reality, Internet of Things, and other emerging technologies. By applying and combining all these technologies, Web 3.0 is actually changing the internet. It's an internet that is decentralized, that is actually working for everyone and owned by everyone. Crypto networks with their open source protocols and everyone owned networks offers an opportunity to actually create a new system that will benefit more people around the world. Now, imagine your OFW families who are sending their hard-earned money from abroad without having to rely on remittance companies who actually taking so much and charges a lot na sana pwede ng pangkain ng isang pamilya sa isang linggo. Imagine yung mga third parties that actually having a lot of commissions mawawala and mapupunta yung value mismo sa atin as rewards by participating in the community of networks. But here's the thing, a lot of people don't even believe in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, but it's actually not something new. They actually do the same thing way before when the internet is just starting. They call this as a bubble, they called it as a scam, but look at internet right now. We actually cannot live without it. Now imagine, kung nakasabay ka nung early stages of development nung mga Web 2.0 applications na nai-enjoy natin ngayon like Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Google, etc. Considering na nag-invest ka lang sa index, sa Nasdaq, yung 5,000 mo during that time is actually worth 500,000 pesos or half a million pesos in today's money. It's actually 100x of your initial investment. And uulitin ko, we are currently on the early stages of development of Web 3.0, wherein there's a lot of uncertainty, but there's also a big potential. This is the time where you can create an opportunity of a lifetime, because I can see with my big conviction that in the next decade, early Web3 projects, especially in the crypto spaces right now, it can change the way we live, the way we interact, the way we engage, and it completely turn around the way we do business. It can change the landscape of doing business. Even the government, na wala nang magiging dayaan sa eleksyon, mababawasan ang korupsyon, kasi it's going to be transparent. It will disrupt banking systems through decentralized finance, at napakarami pang mga epekto sa mga users. Mga users na maliliit, mga simpleng mamamayan na kagaya mo, na kagaya ko. The world is actually evolving. We cannot just sit and watch innovation happens without participating on it. Don't miss the chance of creating a life-changing future today in Web 3.0. And I hope may natutunan ka from this video. Although there are some technicalities na di natin ma-expound since hahaba din yung content natin, at least, hopefully, I was able to provide a curiosity for you to do your own research and take action. And if you're new to this channel, you may want to consider subscribing, hit that notification bell button para updated ka sa mga susunod and future learnings na ibabahagi ko sa channel na to. Again, thank you hitters, and see you next time.